Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I have a couple purposes for this video. So this snake here is our male Sunset. His name is Temujin. He is deep in shed, so you don't get to see his beautiful sunset colors, but that's all right, because what I wanted to show you is two things. First off, I wanted to talk about a little procedure he had done. And it's underneath his right jaw, and he's gonna keep moving, and I'm not gonna restrain his head. So just try and see if you can see what I'm saying. There's like 2 stitches there. So he has had an ongoing issue with a little tiny abscess on the bottom of his right mandible. And we worried it could be a tumor, or we worried the bone itself could have infection. None of that was the case. So most likely, some sort of foreign body or maybe, a tooth from a mouse caught him. But whatever it was, some sort of infection took place and made a little bump on the bottom of his jaw. And reptiles will often, their body will form an abscess around any pocket of infection that's a really hardened, not really vascularized tissue to try and stop the bacteria from spreading and, causing death potentially, right? Well, it kept growing. It was not successfully keeping it contained. We've tried long doses of antibiotics. We have had it just kind of lanced and drained and cleaned out. It was not enough. So finally the vet was like, let's just get rid of the entire thing. It's a more invasive surgery, and most veterinarians are of the opinion that you should do the least invasive technique first. If there's a possibility of success, I think that's reasonable, but it wasn't working. So he's like, we're doing a full-on surgery, we're putting him under. We're gonna not just, open the abscess and drain it out. We're gonna cut out the entire thing and remove it and take some scans of the bone to make absolute triple certain that there's no infection in the bone. There wasn't. No sign of a tumor. It's just an abscess, but it was resisting our previous attempts at controlling it. So that's why he has a little incision with the stitches. He seems to be recovering great. There was some concern because, there's not that much skin down there that it was going to hold his lip open. But it's already almost completely closed up, which just means that, those stitches were kind of pulling at his lip. But the skin is so elastic, it's already going back to a normal shape, so he should be good to go. So always in the past when he's been on the antibiotics, the swelling would go down almost completely. So it clearly is a bacteria that is susceptible to this antibiotic. So because it was fully removed, we were advised to just, over the next couple of weeks, give him a few doses of this antibiotic. Just because, there was an open incision and all that. It was all done very cleanly, but just to be safe. And that is what I'm going to do on this video as well. Just, a lot of you with reptiles at some point might have like a respiratory infection and might need to be giving injections at home. So I'm going to show you what I do. It's by far my favorite way of doing this. Feel free to shred me in the comments. I don't really care because I think that this is better. As far as, most people will grab the snake's head and restrain them, and then the snake is afraid. This is a very, very fine needle. I'm just going to make sure that the medicine is all the way to the top and there's no big air bubbles. So I see one big air bubble at the bottom that I'm going to flick out. There it goes. And we're ready to go. So I'm going to come up towards the front third of his body, and I am not going to restrain him. He doesn't love this, but he's never bitten me, and even if he does, I feel like it scares him less than if I have to restrain his head, okay? And this is just subcutaneous. I'm just going under the skin. I don't need to jab it into his muscle. Now he's going to keep moving, so I'm just going to take my time. These needles will bend very easily, so I don't want to make any quick movements. I know you don't like it, buddy. So I'm just trying to make sure it stays straight. I'm not bending. And it's trying to bend on me. It always does. I just penetrated the scales. Just going in a little deeper to make sure all the medicine goes in. So if you're not very deep, what always happens to me is, there we go. He felt that prick. It's okay. It's okay. If you go too shallow though, the medicine will just come out the front. It won't actually go under the skin. So now, and he'll feel this too. He won't like it. Oh. And I fully understand. I'm gonna make some people upset with me who think I'm doing this wrong. But having done this on this exact animal many times, I think this is better than restraining him. I know it would go quicker if I were to restrain him. See how that bubble is forming? That's just what we want. That means it's just under the skin. It's not going into the muscle. And there it all goes. Needle is out. I will take care of that. I know that's sharps. Just let me finish this video real quick. And then look, do you see that bubble under his skin? I don't know if it's showing up on the screen there. That's exactly what we want. Now I don't want to mess with him anymore because I don't want him to get too riled up. But do you see how calm this snake is? He's still just tongue flicking. It was just a little prick. He's fine. If I had grabbed his head and fully restrained him, he would be stressed. And since I have to do this every 3 days, you know, depending on what injury or infection you guys are working with in your animal, you might have to do it every 3 days for a very long time. And if you are getting your animal out and just grabbing their head every 3 days for that long of a time, I just don't know how you could maintain your relationship with that animal. I don't know how you could keep their trust. So for me, I will risk a bite by poking him even though his head is free. This particular animal is delightful and he's never bitten me, right? Even though he could clearly feel that poke. Now, be reasonable. If you have a full-grown anaconda and you're worried about a bite, that is a different risk level than a little bitsy ball python here, right? But in general, I just like to not restrain them. So that's what I do. He was successfully administered his medicine. I'm gonna go put him back. But I just wanted to give the update on his procedure and show you how I give an injection. I know that's a little bit awkward where he's able to freely move around and I'm trying to follow him. Some people are gonna be like, that's unsafe. I don't think I'm unsafe, but I guess do it the way you want. That's just how I do. I'm just sharing, not trying to tell you what to do. Just my thoughts on how I treat my animals. So that is all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, we're the Reptile Barn.